Thanks so much for watching our show. We really appreciate the support. It costs a lot to produce, so we're asking for donations and pledges here on Patreon. Thanks again. Welcome back to See It and Feel It with Dr. Brett. Well, a lot of times in a relationship, people are attracted to the negative and positive traits of their parents. And in this case, likely the negative traits of her mom or dad or whomever. And so it's familiar. What's safe is often familiar. So even abuse can be familiar. And then people get trapped in it because of the energy of their early family system. And then personal growth often is about outgrowing the conditioning of our early childhood, right? So if we grow up with a really controlling father, for example, right? Maybe she had a really controlling father or mother. Well, personal growth for her would be to have the courage to leave that relationship and then start to learn how to be attracted to people that are actually much healthier, right? Because I don't consider a control freak particularly healthy, right? The healthier you get emotionally, the less likely you need to control anyone or anything for that matter. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It means you can fix, right? Normally, if situation like this, like for better to meet counselor, not like just, here in Western, it might not be normal for going to see like a psychologist or counselor. But in Thailand, they just feel like, no, it's normal. Don't need to go to counselor.
Yeah. Well, it's not as much prevalent in the culture, right? In Asian cultures in general, people are less likely to go to professionals for guidance, right? Psychology, when I lived in China, was just not prevalent. And as far as I was aware, in Thailand, it's not particularly prevalent, right? For prevalent means is like, something that occurs often, right? So it's not prevalent for people to go to shrinks or psychologists or coaches. Coaching more so maybe now.
Yeah,
right?
a lot. Like for back then, like maybe 10 years ago, I feel like people will go to see psychologists or psychiatrists are like crazy.
Yeah.
Mental ill.
Yeah.
Something like that. Only. Not just like talk
not to work through problems and do personal growth and take your game to the next level. A lot of what I do with athletes is help them take their game to the next level. A lot of the people I work with, a lot of business people, they're pretty healthy. It's really about, achieving your goals, right? Getting your game to the next level. And we all can be a little more present, a little more creative, a little more alive, a little more interesting, or whatever it is, right? We can always take our game to the next level. Yeah.
And I have one more question.
Oh, definitely.
About dating right now.
Yes.
During COVID.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, it seems like the kids that I'm guiding, some of them, if they're outgoing, they find a way. So they're still on the internet and doing their thing. And if they're less outgoing, then maybe, the barrier becomes an excuse. In other words, it's like, so if you're shy or introverted or afraid of rejection, then it's just one more obstacle that makes it harder for you to overcome that fear. So for people, look, it's not as easy if you're in New York City and it's 32 degrees out or 22 degrees out and you have to sit outside somewhere, which some of the kids that I'm coaching are doing. It's not that easy, but they're doing it.
Oh, they need to sit
They sit outside. Yeah, like in the freezing cold or whatever to do a date. But some people are more like, driven to like, to explore. And other people, they're just dating a lot less because it's harder, right? So it's like anything else. If you have a lot of drive, you're going to find a way. And if you have less drive or more fear, like fear of rejection, then the obstacle will become almost insurmountable. Like it'll become too much. So it really is just reinforcing like those tendencies, so to speak. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. You seem like you're surprised by this.
Yeah, I don't know how people date like recently since I stay with you.
Since you stopped dating.
Yeah, and because I try to Google, I have channel in YouTube, right?
Right.
And like sometimes people like come to ask me because like for COVID, it's difficult to date, like to meet, even especially like dating online.
Mhm.
But I because like my client,
Mhm.
one of them, she just get engaged and she dating online, and I feel like it's just because the right time, the right person, mm, more than like difficult.
Yeah, so it can still happen. You remember when
Yeah.
we first, almost a year ago,
Mm-hmm.
when COVID first hit,
Mm-hmm.
and we ran into this neuropsychologist and her, this guy that she was with. We ran into somebody that I found out was in my field, right? And I immediately was like, "You guys are a COVID relationship, right?" Because they had met
How did you
in COVID.
know?
I just felt it, right? And I said to her, "I'm like, you guys are COVID. I could tell." And what he was a boat captain, and they met online, and she was from Chicago, and he was originally from Chicago, but he was stationed here for a client's boat, right? And he literally drove like 2,000 miles, went to pick her up, and then they drove back here and lived on the boat, remember, in like March and April. And she was running her business like a little bit on the phone, not in the hospital because everything was so shut down for the neuropsych testing and everything. And it was really fascinating. So they found a way. I hope they're still together. We don't know. We've lost touch. But it was really cute. Remember, we had one of those fun nights or whatever. So look, it's doable in COVID. It's just harder. And when things are harder, you need to even work harder to address fear, right? So some people are too scared to meet a stranger in this experience. Other people are doing it responsibly. It requires obviously more communication. And then there's some luck involved too, right? Because there is a very small likelihood that, if you're inside someone without symptoms, it's like 1% roughly will be able to transmit, so it's tricky, for sure, but it's doable.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else?
What else?
Here I eat my crap in Thai. What else? Right?
Do you think how long the COVID will end?
How long will it end? Well, we're hoping. My wife is like, when is this going to end? Well, I mean, I've felt intuitively like most of, in history, these pandemics run 18 months to 2 years. So hopefully by September, that's 18 months roughly, we can largely be on the other side of this thing. And maybe by, a year from now, January, you'll be going back to Thailand. There'll be no restrictions, hopefully by then. My wife wants to go to Thailand so badly, I can feel it.
No, I want to travel.
That too, yeah. We love to travel.
I dream about airport.
She dreams about airports. How funny is that? Yeah. So a few months ago, we went to pick up her sister who lives in Monroe, Louisiana, PGF, who had done a podcast with us on one of the prior trips to come visit us. And my wife was more excited about the airport, it seemed, than picking up her sister. She's just staring at the airport. And I'm like, why are you staring at this airport? And she's like, I just want to travel.
I think it's true. It's not only me. I think like for this period, like everyone want to travel.
Well, people that are travelers in particular. Some people, like you said, they don't do anything, right? But for those of us that love to travel, we miss it badly. Yeah. We would be, like, I've already be back in Connecticut for, many, many trips already, right? I was doing 6, 7, 8 trips a year. That's a lot, right? And you would be doing what? Thailand with me in Connecticut, and then what? Go somewhere everywhere. And then we would be probably doing more road trips too.
Yeah.
Right. We've done what? We did one where we went to the other side of Florida, and that was lovely, right? We went to the Tampa area, what is it, Longboat Key. That was absolutely lovely. But, maybe we'll try to figure something out here. I love pleasing my wife, right? It's like.
Thank you.
All right. Well, this was wonderful. Any other questions before we wrap up?
I just want to know, like, for the secret, like, to be okay for this period of
exercise a lot, meditate a lot, and reach out to people, even if it's not always in person, right? You want to stay in connection and you want to try to, like, you know, we always try to eat healthy. We don't always execute on that. But when we're eating well and we're exercising a lot and we're meditating a lot and we're communicating a lot, we always have, right? For everybody's life, that makes a huge difference. Any
Yeah.
other thoughts?
Yeah, I think, and try to do something new that they like make activity.
Right, and try to figure out a way to get a little bit more creative and do something new, even if the environment is a little bit harder right now,
That's
right?
right.
So we're always working on creativity, and sometimes that can be interpersonal. It doesn't necessarily mean art, right? You can be more creative interpersonally as well. Hey, I'm Dr. Brad. I was with my wife, Janakan, and
Hi.
we always love doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you ขอบคุณค่ะ
Thanks for watching See It and Feel It with me, Dr. Brett. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like, subscribe, or share it with a friend.